Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of RC Classic Garage. And today you join me as I'm going to be balancing and tuning the twin Weber carburetors on my Alfa Romeo 1750. Webers are great carbs, but unfortunately they're not tune and forget carbs, and they need balancing and tuning once in a while. And the one thing that will be required in order to do this job is an airflow meter. I picked this airflow meter up relatively inexpensively in the UK. I think it was 30 to 40 pounds. I've recently replaced my fuel pressure regulator, which is set between 2 to 3 psi. I highly recommend one of these for the Weber carbs, as it does help avoid your carbs flooding. In order to do this job, we're going to be looking at 3 settings on the carburetor. The first being the idle speed screw located here. The second being the carb balancing screw located between the carbs here. And the third being the 4 idle mixture screws located here. So we first need to get the engine running and up to temperature. We then need to remove the air cleaner for easy access to the carbs. So first step is to adjust the idle speed. With this, where I have chosen to idle the car at about 800 RPM. Again, this will vary depending on your type of car and cams that you have in the car. The second step is carb balancing. And here we're getting the carbs in sync with each other. So we use the airflow meter between number 2 and number 3 and try and get the carbs to get the same reading on both barrels. So as you can see, these carbs are slightly out. So what we will do is adjust the balancing screw between the carbs until we get the same reading on each carb. Now that I have a similar reading across both carburetors, it means that my carbs are in sync and balanced. The next step are your idle mixture screws, which are the 4 located at the back that we saw earlier on. We'll start really at number 1, and what you're trying to do is tune this to get the right mixture on the carb. So you do this by actually listening to the engine. You tune the screw clockwise and you will get less fuel going to the car. The engine speed will decrease, which will mean it's running lean. You turn it anti-clockwise to increase the speed and give it more fuel. And what you're trying to do, you're trying to get it to the point where the adjustment has no effect on the engine speed. And that's where the idle peaks. What you then want to do is give it an 1/8 of a turn anti-clockwise once you've got that peak, to ensure that the car does not spit back at you for running too lean. And you need to do this across all of them. So again, just to recap, what we did in the beginning was set our idling speed, which is now being set at about 800 RPM. We got the balance between the 2 carbs correct by synchronizing them to make sure that they have the same airflow between the 2 carbs by using the balancing screw, and then readjusting idle as we need to, and then going across to your idle mixture screws and setting the 4 of them to basically where they have the peak performance on idle, and making sure that they're not too rich and not too lean as we described. Now you may find that you may need one additional step, and that is getting the airflow correct between the same carb. So you take your airflow meter, you check the flow between the carb, and you make sure that that is correct. Mine don't need adjustment, but if it does need adjustment, you have to adjust these 4 screws. There's 2 of them on each carb, and you have to keep adjusting them until you have the same airflow mixture between all 4 barrels of the carburetor. And this is the location of the air bleed screw should you need to make an adjustment on the same carb between the 2 barrels. Thank you all for watching another episode of RC Classic Garage, where we tuned and balanced the carbs on the Alfa Romeo 1750 GTV. See you all next time.